These are the dominant seventh voicings based on the diminished scale. So that would be with a 13th and a sharp 9 and flat 9 and a flat 5. So these will be based again on the octatonic diminished scale. These are, we'll start at D7 here on 1, 4, 5, 6. So this is a D, F sharp, C, and an E flat. We'll start there, and we will do two different types of chords. One based on the root of the dominant seventh like that, and then one based either a semitone above or a whole tone below as a diminished chord. So D7 flat 9. The top note can move to the sharp 9, which is D, C, D, F sharp, C, and F. Okay. Now we can also use a 13th. So the C can go to a B, giving us a 13 flat 9. This is D, F sharp, B, F, and then a 13 flat 9 moving the top voice to E flat, which of course resolves to G, no problem. Resolves to D flat as well with no issue. So you have so any of those voicings work. And in fact, the double alteration, D, F sharp, E flat, F, works well going to the D flat. You just simply swap fingers. Okay, very easy resolution. From the B natural in this voice into the alto voice, we can also, use a regular sort of ninth sound here. In other words, we're going to take a B chord now because we're going to move the D that we had here to E flat. So now we have E flat, F sharp, B, and C. So it's like a B triad with a lowered ninth, and we can use a sharp 9. And that obviously will resolve to an E type chord very easily. So any type of E major type chord works there. We can also put the 7th in against, so this becomes kind of a B7 sharp 9. D sharp, A, B, and D. And of course, that can resolve to E major, but it can resolve to G major as well. And of course, it resolves to B flat major. And D flat, of course. So rounding out the system. Okay. Now, in reference to that, we can then voice exchange. And that's a common voicing for the diminished on the D. So this is C, F sharp, B, and E flat. We can go to the sharp 9 too, in terms of looking at it as a D. So this can be C, F sharp, B, and F. So it can be used in a sequence. It's a nice thirds sequence. Any of these obviously can be moved in minor thirds, and that will be the usage for them generally. We'll get the voicings and then we'll move them in minor thirds to create sequences and just to show some of the possibilities. The next thing, if we go back to our regular D7 flat 9, if we move two voices, in this case the one on the D string, the one on the E string with the top voice, we now have an E flat minor major 7, and we can swap out and mirror it, and that becomes the same thing, only the F is in the bass. So we went from E flat, G flat, D, and F to F, G flat, D, and E flat. And again, that can move nicely in a sequence. So it moves from E flat, minor major 9, D7 flat 9, C, minor major 9, B, flat 9, A, maybe to a G, or maybe to resolving to a B flat perhaps. Whatever. But a very easy sequence. Nice and pliable. So that's easy to finger. And again, this mirror image works well in terms of voice exchange. Now, if we're moving downwards, we can also play voicings that occur off of either the E flat, as we did here, like the B chord with the flat 9 and the sharp 9, and here's obviously a proper D7 sharp 9, F sharp, C, D, and F natural can go to a flat 9 with the E flat and then resolve to the G as per usual. Also, if we keep going downwards from this, and we use that as a gateway, we also remember this chord, C, F sharp, B, and A, and we remember that was a D7, but we can also make this a diminished chord. So for example, we can think in terms of a C diminished or an E flat diminished. We'll use it in C, it doesn't matter. C, E flat, G flat, and B. So this is a diminished major 7 on C, but in reality it's like a D13 with a flat 9 because it resolves to the G very nicely. And of course it would resolve to a D flat nicely. Okay, but we can alter this. So the E flat can go to an F. And we can hear that as a D7 sharp 9 going to 13. You know, the same sort of business, and then resolving to the B flat, or resolving to G, or resolving to E, or resolving to D flat. Okay. Additionally, with the C, we can take it and move it. So now we have an A flat triad with an A on top, or a B on top. So it has that sound can be moved. Okay, and become a diminished sequence. Additionally, we can have a variety of different triads, and of course in this scale we have a D, but we have an F, an A flat, and a C. So, a B. So moving from the diminished, moving chords this way, so instead of just straight up and down like this, we can move a diminished C, F, G flat, A flat with the B on top, and then move that to E flat, C, E flat, G flat, A flat, and resolve to G. That's fine, or E, B flat, or D flat, and E, whatever. Okay, they all resolve. Now, this gives us a series of triads. Now, if I put the sharp 11 on the top, for instance, say I take the D chord here, D, and we've seen this before, A, D, F sharp, and G sharp. And I can use that in thirds, and I can now connect it to the other triad, which is, here's an F with a B on top, now here's an A flat with an A on top. So now if we move that, I'll start with A flat with the D on top, B with a C on top, F with B, A flat with an A, D with a G sharp, and we F with a G flat, and then resolve. So now we have a resolving to a D flat. We have something that actually sounds kind of like Olivier Messiaen's work. If we that always struck me as something that he used to like to do quite a bit. Very common in his music. So those are the triadics, just some of the triad possibilities as well. There are many more. Also, look out for the basics. For instance, here is a D chord. It's just a straight D, A, and C natural with an E flat on top. You can voice exchange. It's very, makes it easy to play a sequence. Very easy, very supple, very easy to finger, those sorts of things. So that can resolve as well. So make sure that you check all the possibilities. Again, here are the basic thirds. And we have, and these chords have the scale as the top voice. So watch this. There's the D7 sharp 9 with a 13th, F sharp, C, F, and B, going to A on top, moving it down a minor third, E flat, A, D, G sharp with an F on top, and maybe swap out with a triad or a sharp 9, C, E flat. So we have a third cycle with those diminished voicings. So, and again, so any of these are movable, you know, and there are some even, you know, simpler sort of sequences that you could do here like this. Here's the original 13 flat 9, and then do it on F. Resolving to D flat, so that works. So you can see there are obviously endless possibilities with the diminished scale voicings, with triads, minor major 7 type, diminished major 7 type, and the variety of diminished chords. That's great too. Remember this one, C, F, G flat, and A flat. Middle voice moving to E flat, moving that in thirds. Very simple. And then move it to E. Etc. So very easy sequence. And it could collapse to that. Again, try all the possibilities. And then back to E. Okay. So that concludes a general overview of the diminished dominant sound of chords on 1, 4, 5, 6.